Welcome everybody. This is our job virtual fair. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we'll be presenting you many other opportunities that we have in terms of jobs. And then Melanie will also speak a bit more about the migration pathways. So please just leave your questions for the end of the event and then we'll be helping you. So I just want to share my screen now. Can anyone see it?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Great. So yes, so if you're not talking now, can you please just mute yourself? Then we'll have the opportunity to talk. Yes, so today, as I said before, we will have a panel discussion to discuss about the aged care, childcare, and hospitality industry with our experts and specialists. And also we will be talking about the 485 visa, the 407, about DAMA, all pathways that is involved on this industry, aged care, childhood education and care, and hospitality. And also in the end, we will have a great advantage for you to join on our job portal. So I will be talking to you about how we do the recruitment, how we do the process, and we will give you some special fees to have a consultation with us. And it's very important to have a consultation because in the consultation, our migration agent will determine your eligibility for these visas that is related to the jobs. So now I just want to introduce you our experts and specialists. So we have Georgina here with us. She's director from Royalty Scope Nursing Services. So she will be talking with us about the aged care industry. Also, we have Scott Dalton, director from Billy Kids Early Learning Group. They will be talking about the childcare industry. And Cheryl Sim, who is also a human resource from Triples White Group, and Melanie McFarlane, our principal and CEO, our principal migration agent and CEO. She will be talking about the migration pathways and everything else. Oops. Okay, so let's start with the questions that we have here. Sorry. So what are the jobs that we have currently available? What are the expectations? What are the qualities and attributes? And some tips. So I just want we can start with Scott Dalton. What do you think? Can you start it?
Yes, Sigrid, thank you, no problem at all. So
okay, if you'd like to share your presentation with us, you just need to click on the green button and share your presentation.
Okay, I don't think I can share while you're sharing.
Okay, so let me, okay.
I think you've got the power.
Let me check. Sorry. Yeah, I already allowed you to do it.
You need to unshare from your side. Ah, there we go.
There we go. I think that's working. Okay, can you see that okay? Just loading, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so my name's Scott Dalton. I'm the director and founder of Billy Kids Early Learning Group. We've got currently 3 centres, and I just thought I'd run through them a little bit for you. This is Billy Kids Bilgola. It's a beautiful bush block on the northern beaches, and it's dearly loved by the locals and the teachers themselves. So that's Billy Kids Bilgola. It's a 2 to 5 year old centre. This is our latest centre. It's Billy Kids Pymble. Pymble's on the North Shore of Sydney. It's a magnificent 100-year-old building that we've repurposed and renovated to a childcare centre. It's spectacular inside and out. And the Bluey's Treehouse Avalon is a smaller centre on the northern beaches. Once again, If you're familiar with Home and Away, this is where Home and Away is filmed. So that's sort of Northern Beaches lifestyle, which lots of our teachers love. And we're building Billy Kids or Bluey's Treehouse Newport, which is also on the Northern Beaches, and this will be ready this time next year. So currently we have a full-time role for a diploma at Bluey's Treehouse Avalon, so here, and we'll be hiring about this time next year and early into 2023 about 20-25 educators ready from Certificate 3 to ECTs, early childhood teachers, at Bluey's Treehouse Newport. So currently we have one main position available, but there'll be a lot more at this time next year. So that's, our vision is fairly simple. We strive to be the service of choice for both teachers and families in every community we serve. So our expectations are that, you know, we want passionate educators who want to be the best and provide the best experience for children. And to do that, we believe that we must be the best employer in the sector, and certainly in those locations, to attract the best teachers, because good teachers support good teachers. So when we're looking for teachers, we're looking for passionate educators, and we're looking for why, you know, why they're doing it, and whether they fit our philosophy, which is child-led focus and learning. Each child is respected for their own interests, their own voice, and we use their input to create a learning environment that they can thrive in. We have a very strong focus on teachers in terms of looking after them and their entitlements. So we do pretty unusual things. So I just wanted to share a bit about our philosophy. This is the Centre Director at Pymble. So this is Donna. So she started this centre about 3 years ago, and this might give you a little bit of insight about how we think.
Billy Kids, a great combination of a very beautiful physical surround and fantastic equipment and resources. A team of people who really together want to make education fantastic for young children, and together we kind of drive what I'd say is a purpose-driven culture around excellence in education and love and nurture of children.
So that gives you a bit of an idea of what one of the centres looks like, a little bit of vision. And this is one of our lovely teachers, Emily. Emily worked with us at another centre we've had, and she went away and had some children and came back. And we love having Emily, and she's a passionate educator. This is the sort of educators we're looking for.
I became an early childhood teacher because I really believe that the experiences of your early childhood can make an impact on the rest of your lives, and I feel like being able to contribute to somebody's life is such an honour, and that just gives me meaning.
Oops, sorry. So if we're looking to achieve high quality and being the best in our area, in our communities, we then have our own expectations that we're the best employer in our communities. And so we have built a raft of benefits to support and nurture and appreciate our staff. So one of the benefits we have is, you can see some of the vision here, it's our holiday house. We built a holiday house for our staff so that they can have time away with their family and friends to, you know, regenerate and come back, and they can have weekends away. They have hens nights, all sorts of group weekends, and they can take their family and friends there, which is just such a special thing to be able to do for our staff. It's a 5-bedroom house on the beach at Jimmy's Beach, which is Port Stephens. So we have longevity bonuses, we have paid study leave, we offer an extra 12 weeks maternity leave on what the government pays. We've also put our staff through scholarships. You know, if someone wants to study their degree, we pay for their early childhood degree. So we really value education and teachers, and therefore we value teaching teachers. And we also have the best Christmas parties in Sydney. There we go. So that's sort of the end of the presentation, but if you're a good teacher, we'll look after you.
I want to come and work for you, Scott.
Thanks, Melanie. So, I should also mention that we have done probably well over a dozen sponsorships with Melanie and MMM over the last 10 years or so. And you've never failed. You've always achieved what you said you would achieve. And we're so grateful for those wonderful teachers that they really enrich our lives. And we just really appreciate this opportunity. It's probably, sponsorship is probably one of the greatest things that, as a director of the company, that I really enjoy. It changes people's lives, it gives people opportunity, and it gives us the opportunity to respect quality teachers. So thanks Melanie and the team.
Great, thank you so much, Scott. It was a great presentation. So now just let me share again my screen. Yes, so now we can go with Cheryl. Is that okay?
No problem.
Okay, so if you have some presentation, you can go for it, or just talk to us about these questions.
I'll just talk. Okay, fantastic. So thank you so much for having me today. My name is Sharon, and I'm from a company called Trippers White Group. So we are a premium hospitality company based in Sydney, but we do have venues all around Australia. So we have 35 venues at the moment. Most of them are in quite iconic locations, such as the Sydney Opera House, Sydney Tower, Queen Victoria Building, the Royal Botanic Gardens in Sydney. And we also do a lot of catering contracts, corporate catering contracts. So that's working with schools such as Scots College, Canberra Grammar School, and also having a presence in our international airports by being in the Singapore airport lounges. So that's what we do. We do a whole range of a la carte service in our restaurants, events, and corporate catering for clients. We do have a lot of fun and exciting events that we host and hold every year. So our biggest one probably would be our New Year's Eve events, especially at the Sydney Opera House and the Sydney Tower. They're quite iconic, and they're quite exciting to be a part of. So that is something that we really enjoy doing. But also all the events that come out throughout the year, Valentine's, Mother's Day, all these sort of events, we host a whole range of different options at our venues. That's what we do, and we are at the moment expanding. Can't say too much on it at the moment, but we are growing and expanding, and looking to add more venues to our portfolio, and and we'll have a larger presence around Australia in the coming months. So we're very excited, and because of that, we thought we joined to talk about the opportunities that we currently have at the moment, and also positions that's more of like in the future. So at the moment, hospitality, people are just coming out of lockdown, people are excited, it's end of year celebrations, it's our busiest time of the season, of the year actually, so we do have lots of roles. So we have a mix of casual and full-time positions at the moment. So definitely, if someone's looking for some extra money or building their experience, we do have roles in front of house. So F&B attendants, bartenders, baristas, hosts, runners, back of house, so anyone from kitchen hand to commie, demi, sous. We have head chef roles available at the moment as well, pastry chefs as well. If you like talking and making bookings for people. We do have roles in our reservations team at the moment. So we do have a centralized reservation team in head office where you take bookings for everyone in Trippers White. So we have that. And if you're looking for full-time positions, we actually have an accounts receivable officer position, a point of service administrator role, event coordinator, and also event sales manager. So these are our full-time opportunities. In terms of what it's like to work for Trippers White Group and what we're looking for, really we're looking for people who are interested in working in hospitality. They have a genuine and passionate personality. They care about customer service a lot, and they really are out to exceed customer expectations. We always get great feedback on our events and from our clients and customers, so we're always looking to maintain that. So that's always something that we're looking for. And in terms of what we're looking for, we are looking for people who are available to start work now. But if that's not possible, then obviously just express your interest. We do have roles, happening in the new year as well. So there's always that. We've worked with Melanie and Triple M or MM Migration a lot in the past, and we have sponsored quite a lot of front of house, back of house, and also head office roles. So we are looking to, we're happy to go down that path if that's something someone's looking for. But also we are happy to have people join us for casual positions if they're looking to build experience, or if they're unsure at the moment of what they might want to do as a career. Then, we do have opportunities where you can dabble in front of house, and maybe after a few months or a year, you might want to do something in events. So then maybe we can look at event coordination. So, hospitality is a great place to meet new people, meet new friends, colleagues, and kind of find out what you are passionate about. And in a company like Trippers White Group, where we have so many different, functions, I believe you'll be able to find that and find your passion and your calling. And yeah, hopefully you'll be able to join us.
Great. And do you have some tips that you can advise for someone that is going to apply for the job, to prepare for the job interview?
Yeah. So this is from a very HR point of view. We do receive applicants, hundreds of applicants, not so much these days because of border closures, but we have received, we receive hundreds of applications, every year. And things that really kind of stand out, and tips I would like to share today is firstly to make sure your CV is updated. I know it almost sounds like a given, but some people forget to update their latest position before they send and apply for new roles. So definitely include your latest position. And your latest position usually means it's something that, when you're applying for your new role, is somewhat relevant. So then if that is the case, then you should really list your duties and not just have it as one line, this is what I'm doing. So definitely outline any achievements, and I guess give the recruiter an idea of the size of the work that you've been doing and the size of the company you've been working in. That's quite important. So we do have a lot of people who come from overseas and are international students, and they've worked in some really cool international places, but we may not have heard of them. So if you've worked in a fancy 5-star restaurant, or, a Michelin-starred restaurant, then write that on your resume so it does stand out from everyone else's. That's my first tip. And secondly, is more of my own personal preference, but I do find it quite helpful, is rather than you writing your year to year, write your month and year to month and year. So instead of saying from 2012 to 2013, I worked as this, try and give the person a bit more information and write the month. So it's easier to gauge how much experience you have, but definitely flesh it out in your duties. That's quite important. Another point would be your cover letter. So make sure it's customized to the company that you're applying for. It only takes a few seconds to find out information. And if you feel like you're a bit unsure of who to address it to, that's fine. I find it's more better to address it to the company HR team rather than leaving it blank or having another company's name on it. So definitely don't do that. So you can write to, Trippers White Group HR team, for example, and that just customizes it a little bit more than leaving it blank. Another thing is if you make it to the interview stage, if people are doing face-to-face interviews now, it is to be on time or to arrive about 5 minutes early. Don't arrive 30 minutes early because then the interviewer might be busy with other things and you're just awkwardly sitting there. You create more nerves for yourself for the 30 minutes while you're waiting for your interview. So about 5 minutes is enough time, to sit down, cool down, gather your thoughts, ready for your interview. They would be my top 3 tips.
Great tips. Hope everybody's taking notes and paying attention on this. Thank you so much, Sharon.
No problem.
So now let's talk to Georgina. Hi, Georgina.
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I guess, yeah. So I'm Georgina and I'm the director for Royalty Scope Nursing Services. So we're based in the Sutherland Shire in Miranda. That's where our offices are. So we are a nursing service and we also provide home care services as well. So I'll just talk, I haven't got a presentation prepared or anything, so I'll just talk from the top of my head. So we provide nursing services and home care services. So I guess we are the essential services in this pandemic. So my background is I'm a registered nurse by trade. So we do nursing and home care services. We are registered with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We're registered with NDIS. And recently, a couple of months ago, we've got the contract to provide home care services under the My Aged Care. So that means that we are now My Aged Care registered provider. So we'll be providing home care services to clients at home, those that need home care services. So that's what we do in a nutshell. So in terms of what jobs and positions that we're looking for, we are looking for registered nurses and we are looking for support workers. That's mainly what we're looking for. And what are our expectations of someone who applies for one of your positions? So our expectations are that in order for you to be a registered nurse or a support worker, so obviously you need to be kind, compassion, and it just needs to be in you really, because looking after someone and being a registered nurse is just not something that anyone can do. So it has to be really in you. You have to be really passionate about it. You have to be passionate about it. And what are the qualities and attributes that are considering for these positions? Yeah, so I think you have to have that passion and you have to be committed in what you're doing, because if you're not passionate and committed, sometimes it just really doesn't work. And what are some of the tips that you would advise to someone who's applying for an interview? So the tips that I would advise is that I think if you're coming for an interview as a registered nurse or a support worker for a home care service provider, it might be beneficial if you could visit the NDIS Commission website, the Aged Care Quality and Safeguard Commission website, because they do have quite a lot of information there and a lot of quite intense educational modules as well that you can access for yourself, so that when you come here, you have an understanding about what is home care in terms of aged care and disability. It'll give you a really good insight about those services. So I guess that's what we provide in a nutshell.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Georgina. All right, so now let's discuss about the visas and migration pathways. I believe that everybody's waiting for this part as well. So Melanie, please.
Thank you, Raquel, and thank you very much, everybody who's presented. I must say, Sharon, I don't know if you know, but we had our Christmas get together for our team actually at the Botanic House in Sydney and the Botanical Gardens last year, and it was amazing. Yeah, so Trippers White Group has some incredible venues and great places to work at. And those tips were great, actually. I could see, Scott, also you kind of nodding your head when at some of the things that Sharon was saying in terms of how to prepare, to come punctually or 5 minutes early to the interview and things like that. Yeah. And the CV up to date, that's so important. Even from the point of a migration point of view, we always need to have up to date CVs and what have you. So, and Georgina, thank you very much also for talking to what you've been doing, and of course, yes, critical sector, absolutely. During the pandemic, that's for sure. Nurses have really been in demand more than ever, and I've no doubt that will continue. As childcare too, actually, all frontliners and hospitality too, actually. So yes, so I'll get on to the immigration things, and I'll try not to take too long because we wanted to have a little bit of time for questions at the end. I can see someone's already wants to be put in touch with Sharon in the chat box there. So I'm just going to talk about some of the visas that we use, and this is useful for our employers as well, because you can never repeat too many things about different visas. I always forget that we're the experts, so we know everything about them, but it's always handy to see this information again. So the reason I'm talking about the 485 visa is that's the graduate visa, and it's something that allows a student to work full-time once they've completed their studies. And there's two types of the 485 visa. There's either the stream 1, which allows somebody to work for 18 months, the graduate work stream, somebody coming out of a course of childcare, for example, or hospitality, as they're working as a chef, studying to be a chef, for example, would be able to get into this stream and then be able to work full-time. And the other stream is coming out of a bachelor or a master degree where they've studied for 2 years. So that could be a Bachelor of Early Childhood Care, for example. It could be a Bachelor of Nursing. It could be a Bachelor of Hospitality Management, or even a master degree in one of those areas. And then they can work for 2 years. And they need to have, that applicant needs to have a particular English level, which is IELTS 6, no band, lower than 5. So it's a pretty competent, it's considered competent level of English to be able to work as well. So let's go on to the next one. Raquel, if we may. The 485 is a great visa because it's a great stepping stone to so many other visas, and it doesn't require sponsorship, whereas the 407, which is the training visa, this does require sponsorship with an employer, and we're using this visa a lot now with all of our employer clients. The purpose of this visa, the overall purpose actually, is to highlight. It's actually to I'll listen to it. I'm actually forgetting the actual original purpose, but it's to enhance somebody's skill set. But overall, it's actually to enhance Australia's reputation overseas, in fact, to show that we are able to train and upskill people to then may take these skills back to their own countries. But essentially, for our employers and applicants, it's to be upskilled to a high level. You need to show 12 out of the last 24 months of relevant work experience or studies to be able to apply. And this work experience can be used for many other visas also. For example, someone can use work experience on the 407 visa to then be sponsored on a TSS 482 visa, or on a 494 if that's in a regional area. 494 is so the TSS 482 can be anywhere in any metropolitan city or regional for up to 4 years, and the 494 is for up to 5 years, but that's in a regional area. So let's have a look at the next subclass. Raquel, who could. Now, DAMA, I'll just quickly talk about this. I mean, all the employers that we have here are all in metropolitan areas. The DAMA is specifically for certain regional areas, but I just thought I would quickly talk about it because otherwise there may be questions from some of our candidates who may be watching this webinar. So it's a type of sponsorship also. It's where an occupation is not on any other occupation list. And there are also concessions for this DAMA. So, for example, to get permanent residence, you only need to have an English level of 5.0, which is much lower than for other types of permanent residence in metropolitan cities, for example. And the maximum age is more than it is for the metropolitan cities. So it's usually the maximum age is 45, and for the 44 in order to be able to apply. But for a DAMA, which is a designated area migration agreement, it's 49. So it's just a little bit about that DAMA. Now, this is a little bit, so I'm just going to talk about the pathways to permanent residence. Obviously, I'm talking in a very general fashion, and it's always important to look at everybody's individual case in order to verify that they can actually follow this pathway based on their own skill set and so on. With regards to the aged care pathway, many students are studying aged care or disabilities. They're also studying a diploma of community services. At this stage, those occupations, unless you are a nurse, if you're coming out without that nursing experience, you would need to go into a training visa. The 485 graduate visa is not available. That's the same actually if you're coming out of a diploma of nursing. Unless you come out of a Bachelor of Nursing, you need to go, which takes you to the 485. A diploma of nursing would also require a training visa. And we have a successful applicant, actually, who's just applying for her permanent residence right now in Sydney, who studied the diploma of nursing, now went through the training visa. We assisted her and has actually obtained state nomination as an enrolled nurse through the points test and skilled migration, in fact. So I haven't put all of those pathways in here. I'm just talking about the employer sponsorship pathways. We are talking with our employers here. So with childcare, there are various pathways as well, starting from the diploma of early childhood, where you can obtain that 485 graduate visa I was talking about earlier. Then you can go on to the training visa. Now, you could do all of this in the metropolitan area, but to ultimately get permanent residence that way, you would need to ultimately be sponsored in a regional area, either through the 494 or through the DAMA. Or, of course, you can go back onto a student visa and do the bachelor degree, or you could be studying a bachelor degree during the time that you are sponsored on the training visa, for example, or even on the graduate visa, and then use that to continue the sponsorship in a metropolitan area. There's also the graduate diploma of early childhood care and education, which is actually a one-year course. So that can then lead to a training visa and then beyond, which would be ultimately sponsorship for a 482 and a 186. And then the Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, which, early childhood teaching actually, which can lead to a graduate visa, then a 482, and after 3 years on the 482, a 186 visa, which is permanent residence through the employer. So there's a myriad of pathways, and even amongst those pathways, there are possibilities to go back to another, and studies, back to studies, and so on. So hospitality, I mentioned this earlier with the cookery qualification. With hospitality, that's 2 years of hospitality management, including cookery, that can go into the 485 graduate visa, followed by a training visa, or if it's possible to gain the 2 years needed during that 485 visa, then that person can go straight to the 482 employer-sponsored visa, and then after 3 years, that person can then go on to the 186 permanent resident visa. And that obviously all of that is in the metropolitan area. Or there's an option for just hospitality management. One thing that I haven't put there is that in New South Wales, the occupation of restaurant manager returned to the occupation list a little bit a couple of months ago, which was very, or maybe slightly more than that, which is very good news for lots of our clients here in Sydney and New South Wales, who can now, as restaurant managers, apply for permanent residence through the points test. So that's another great option for them. All right, I think that's, now I think Raquel, you're going to take over and talk a little bit about our job portal, aren't you?
Yes. Okay, everybody. So now I just want to let you know how you can have access to all of these opportunities that we just talked about. So it's very, very simple. You just need to access our website, mmmigration.com.au. And then in our first page, you will find Recruitment. So in MM Recruitment, you will find the option Find Jobs. So once you click on that, it will open all the screen with all of the jobs that we have currently and also with the job descriptions. So before you sign up, please check if you meet the requirements. And then you can register your profile and your resume. You can look for suitable jobs for you. And after that, you will need to book a consultation with us. However, if you have any technology issue and you cannot, register your resume, that's fine. You can just call us. I will be helping you with that. And then you can send your resume straight to my email. Okay. And then we will have a look if your resume matches with the job opportunity. And then we will invite you for a consultation, because as we mentioned, all of these opportunities, they are related to the visa. So we need to check if you are eligible or not. And then, after the consultation, our migration agent will send you your migration master plan. And then it will be all of the strategies and the step-by-step that you need to undertake to get your visa, and also with the whole pathway until you achieve your permanent residency. Yeah, so as I said, the advantage that we have today is that we normally charge $300 for the consultation. However, for all of those who attend this webinar, we will give you a promotional fee of $200. And the other thing is, in this $200, it's already included our recruitment job. So you don't need to pay any extra fee for that. And also these $200 will be deducted on the visa application. So it's a very good deal. Yeah, so now we're gonna open for questions. Sorry, just let me stop sharing.
I can see one question actually that's come through from Mithun Rajan, who says that, hi Melanie and team, I'm about to finish my graduate diploma of early childhood education from Victoria University. I work for National Australia Bank based on my previous qualification. It's a change in career path. As I wish to open my own long day care centre in years to come, I'd like to at least work for 5 years before realising my aspiration. Right, okay. Well, that's very, that's interesting. Now, I'm not sure, Mithun, what visa you hold, but you would have seen the pathways that I talked about with regards to the 407 training visa and so on. Well, it depends. I mean, we may have some Australian nationals as well, actually, in this webinar. You're currently on a subclass 500, right? Okay. So then we looked at the possibility of that training visa, because a graduate diploma is normally either 1 or 1.5 years, so it doesn't qualify for the 485 visa. So, so that's, yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, so maybe Scott, this may be somebody that that we may be looking at for you. And I don't know if you wanted to comment on that at all, Scott.
Oh, I love a budding entrepreneur. We train you up, and I hope you reach your goals and your dreams, and I'd be more than happy to help. But it's a great pathway to a business in Australia, but you need to obviously get to the visa point. But we have no objections with training people up and they go on to bigger, better things. But we're very proud about helping people do that.
Yes, and we've seen you do that as well. We're very happy to help you to do that as well. All right, we've got one from someone who, can I stay in Sydney to apply for a PR if I studied a diploma in childcare? I mean, you can in the long term, absolutely. Then you can certainly stay and work on the 485 on a graduate visa and so on. But ultimately, you would need to study the bachelor degree. And I know, Scott, you've had people working for you who are studying at the same time, aren't they? And then afterwards, some have gone back from the diploma back to doing the bachelor degree on a student visa, which means you would need to work part-time. But yes, I think you've had applicants in that situation as well, haven't you, Scott?
Yes. And studying full-time and working full-time is in the degree is hard. So it's a bit of a longer pathway, but the longer term view you take of early childhood sector, the more obvious it is that, the benefits of doing the degree. So it gives you so many more options, not just financial, but you really understand the industry and the sector much from a more detailed, professional, scientific perspective.
Yes, yeah, right. Thank you. And I'm just going to the chat, actually. We've got a lot of childcare ones in the Q&A, but I'm looking at the chat as well.
Can we help you with that? So we have a question from Manu. I'm an occupational therapist and diploma degree in aged care, graduated in overseas, certificate 4 in aged care in Australia. It might be suitable for me for the training visa?
Potentially, yes. Diploma in aged care, graduated in overseas, certificate 4 in aged care in Australia. Yes, it depends, because you'd have to, potentially the 407 may be an option. It just depends how long you've been studying for and any work experience, just because of those requirements for the training visa. Manu, the 12 out of 24 months. But absolutely. One thing I wanted to say, and I think maybe you may have said it, Raquel, already, is that we will, with everybody who's in this webinar, we'll be following up with you with regards to assisting you and putting you in touch with the right people, because I know there's someone already who wants to be put in touch with Sharon and so on. So we will definitely be following up, so we can give you more information then. So I can see a lot of questions are coming through.
Yeah, help you. We have another one. I'm nearly finished my diploma in early childhood from Sydney. So what is the next step for PR? For DAMA, is their PTE academic test valid or not?
An academic test, if you already have that, yes, I mean, that is valid. But if you've nearly finished your diploma in early childhood, I think the first thing to consider is the 485 graduate visa, assuming that you're eligible for that if you're about to complete your studies. So the 485 graduate visa would be the next step. And honestly, it really depends, and this is why we do advise a consultation, because we tend to take a very holistic approach with all of the experience that we've had over the years, where it's obviously about the visa, but it's also about what you yourself want. For example, we've found out from some of our clients that actually they didn't really want to go to a regional area, so we've then come up with the pathway for them to be able to stay in Sydney, for example, or any other metropolitan area. But yes, with regards to the DAMA, it doesn't have to be academic.
Another question, I have received my childcare diploma through RPL. I'm wondering if I'm eligible for the training visa, as I'm not attending uni for 2 years.
In the training visa, it's not just that 12 out of 24 months, it's not necessarily the studies, it can be work experience as well. So if you've got either 1 year of full-time work experience in the last 12 months, or 2 years of part-time work experience in the last 24 months, then that's a possibility also.
Yeah, so there is a question, I believe that I can answer this. Is there anything for other fields of specialty like trades and engineering? We have a job available for bricklayers and motor mechanics on our website, on our job portal. So you can have access, just mmmigration.com.au, click on MM recruitment, and then you will find the job description. Yeah, I believe that soon we'll have for engineering, but currently not.
That's right. And maybe that will be our next webinar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got Chaitanya was saying she has 2 years of experience. So yes, Chaitanya, definitely there would be possibilities there for the training visa potentially. Have Semi, actually I'm dependent with my wife. She's already done her college in childcare, so now we take the training visa. My question is, do we have to change to get here in Sydney, or must move to the regional area? Okay, again, you know, that really depends completely. It's always tricky to answer these questions because they can, without giving a very, we'll have to give a fairly generic, general response because we don't know all of the background. But as I mentioned during the course of this webinar, when I talked about the immigration and the different visas, it is possible to stay in the metropolitan area with childcare and ultimately get permanent residence, but it is normally required to study that bachelor degree, or the graduate diploma is another option to be able to work as an early childhood teacher. And there's also the possibility of being sponsored by the state as an early childhood teacher in New South Wales too, manager even.
We have another question here.
Catherine is talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you because we have many questions. This is so great, but we'll try to reply everybody. But anyways, we will contact you after that to follow up with all of you because, yeah. Let's see, one more. I have finished my bachelor in childcare and working as an ECT now. I have already used my graduate visa. What is the best option for my next visa?
That's a really good question. Well, that's where we can and have used the training visa actually for this exact reason, because many people have they've used their 485 after their diploma, then they go back to the bachelor. So it's still possible to do a training visa there where we can use a higher level occupation to train you up towards. Doesn't mean you have to end up working in that occupation, but you can work as an ECT during that time and get enough experience for 482 and then ultimately the 186. Quite a few candidates coming through for childcare here. And actually, Catherine, the one before that, I can see a potential candidate for Georgina. I'm just seeing because internationally qualified, studying as an internationally qualified nurse. So yes, as Raquel said, if we can't answer all these questions because they're all coming through, we're going to be in touch with absolutely everybody who's attended this webinar. Juan Ortega on the 485 in childcare, became a room leader manager lately. The next step for VR, my boss is willing to sponsor you. Okay, fantastic. We need to have to have a consultation and really understand where you're at completely and what your options are in terms of being sponsored, actually. Certificate 3 in aged care, eligible for training visa. Potentially, if that's it, you know, in that instance, it depends obviously on the employer and the employer being able to sponsor. But a certificate 3, if that's a 1-year course, there is potential because it's the 1 year that's needed out of 2 years. And a few more coming through. Manu, who's come back to us, 2 years for a training visa and aged care, and 2 years more for skilled visa. Yes, potentially. There is a labour agreement for aged care, which allows sponsorship after a training visa, after gaining enough experience to then be able to apply for a temporary visa, which ultimately will lead to a permanent residence. I didn't really mention that when I went through the immigration pathways because it's hard to mention absolutely everything. I think that's all the questions that are coming through the chat. I think, yeah, I mean, we've had quite a few there, but I think we've probably covered most of them. I don't know if there's any other comments that that our employers would like to make at this stage, or any answers they would like to give.
Look, thanks, Melanie, and thanks everyone for tuning in. It's if you're really unsure about what your pathway is, then I just recommend you do a consultation. That's what we do with all our staff that we think we can sponsor. Do a consultation, and that points you in the right direction. And certainly, if there's jobs there, from our point of view, we're happy to interview if the appropriate candidate.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks very much, Scott.
Thanks, Melanie.
Sharon, I don't know if you wanted to add anything at all.
No, so I guess we are Trippers White Group. We are an approved sponsor, and we have worked with MM Migration on a lot of cases. So we feel very happy and confident in having people go to them for consultations. They really give a clear guide on what the pathway is, if it's to PR or if it's just to build some experience and to just stay in Australia for a bit longer. They're able to provide the the employee or the applicant with that sort of information, and also to provide the company with the information. So then we're able to work something together with that person to try and see if it's something that we can both do. So if it's a position, when that becomes available, is it immediately, or if it's something that we work towards, then yeah. So there's definitely pathways to whatever it is that you're looking for, whether it be PR or just gaining experience, or just staying in here just temporarily. So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Sharon. Georgina, sorry, Raquel, I'm taking over your job, aren't I?
That's fine.
Not myself.
Yeah, so I'll definitely encourage you to book a consultation, because we do have quite, because in aged care, it's just really expanding at the moment. And as an approved provider, we do have a lot of positions for support workers, for registered nurses. So I can see that some of you have already done your Certificate 3 in aged care, individual support and disability. So just book in your consultation, and if you do qualify, we've got plenty of support workers positions available at the moment. So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Georgina.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. As we mentioned before, we will follow you up. So after this event, we will take a list with all of you that have been in this webinar. We'll be contacting you. And then if perhaps you don't get the call, please feel free to contact us and to say that you've been in this event, so that we can provide you the promotional link. Okay? Thank you so much, everybody. And I believe that's it. Melanie, with you.
Thank you, Raquel. Thanks very much. And it's wonderful. I can see a lot of interest. I'm sorry if we haven't answered all your questions, but as Raquel said, we'll be in touch. And I can see there's some already who've said that they're going to book in with us. So yeah, this was wonderful. Thanks very much to our employers. Really fantastic. And every time I listen to employees speaking, I mean, I learn something extra as well. So thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.